Hi! In this video, we will be turning this boring default cards gallery into a custom pixel-perfect design with a component designer from scratch. To start, we will need to create a JetTables resource and import our collections via CSV files. You can find the links to those files in the description of this video. First collections is the landlord's table. I'm also using the existing IDs as a primary key and changing the field type from text to a number. Let's press on the import and wait for it to load. Alright, let's close the layout selection and import the next one. The next CSV file contains a collection table of rentable properties. Let's also define the primary key in the same fashion. Change the data type from text to a number. And I can also see that the square footage column was defined as a date, so we need to fix that. Let's double check that everything looks good. And click on Import. This table contains rentable properties data. The name of the property, its address, square footage, average rating, and its price. Let's also enrich the data a little bit. Let's change the data type to a link to record for this landlord ID column and select the landlord's collection as a related table. This will grant us an ability to create lookups and rollups columns. Let's create a lookup field to pull up the landlord's avatar. Let's also style it to be in a circle. Alright, our data is ready, so let's move to the next part. Create a new page and select a blank layout. Let's start with a simple gallery first. Select the appropriate data source and the collection. Let's pull up the columns that we are going to use. An image, property name, address, and we won't be needing those. Now the square footage, average rating, and the price. So this is our gallery, and let's move on to creating a custom design. Let's double check what kind of parameters are we getting. They got pulled up by default from the gallery itself, but you can change them if you want to. The parameters are used for referencing on Canvas and contain values for testing. Let's start setting up our canvas. Make the canvas square, 350 by 350. Let's make it fixed instead of fluid for the time being, and create a rectangle for an image. Let's put it in 0 coordinates and make it the same width, 350 width and 180 height. Let's zoom our canvas in and create a new fill that will be filled with an image that we will get from the testing parameters. And here you go. Now let's create a slight gradient over the image. Let's make it a little bit less dramatic. And 10% should be enough. Double check how it looks before and after. And create a shape for landlord avatar. You can hold the shift to make it even, but let's make it 100 by 100. Put it a little bit to the right. And fill with the image. Same process. Choose an image as a fill, click on the function button, and choose the right one from the list. Let's also create a white border and position it in the middle. Let's also not forget to name our objects properly in the left sidebar. This one is property image, and this one is a landlord photo. Now let's create all the text and icons for the bottom part of our canvas. This one will be for a property name. Let's put on the placeholder text. Let's make it a little bit bigger and bolder. And don't forget to rename on the left sidebar. Next one is going to be the address of the property. Let's make the color bluish gray. 120, 125, 180. The name is address. And let's create an icon. 16 by 16 pixels should be enough. Let's change fill type to an icon and search for the location icon. Same color. Let's adjust the position a little bit. You can hold your Option or Alt key on your keyboard and see the distances to other objects by hovering on them. This one is an address icon. Let's duplicate this one by hitting Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V or Command-C, Command-V. And change the icon itself. This one will be a square footage icon, and let's copy that and make a rating icon. Let's rearrange and rename everything on the left sidebar. And copy paste the address for our square footage and rating. Filling them with some placeholders just to see how they look. Some more renaming rituals. This is purely optional, by the way. Last but not least, let's copy the property name to create a price. Let's smooth out the borders of our canvas. For our image, let's also create independent smooth corners on the top left and top right. Let's shift the padding a little bit. All right, nice and even. Let's zoom out to see how everything looks. Looking good. Now, let's change the placeholder text and hook up our parameters. To do so, you would need to click on the function button. After that, select a matching value from the parameters. Now the address. Square footage. The rating. And the price. Now let's save it and see how it looks. Nothing seems to work just yet, but don't worry. Let's bind our data first. Here you will need to match your collection data with the custom parameters from your design. Pretty straightforward in our example. Click here, and it doesn't look right. But don't worry, I know exactly how to fix it. Let's double check that it looks okay when there's just one column. Let's get back to the component designer. In order for our card to be responsive, we need to set up width resizing settings. Let's switch to fluid resizing and set up maximum and minimum width. The avatar needs to stay the same and snap to the right border. The image should snap to the top and retain height. All of the texts should snap to the left border and retain height. Icons should retain both width and height and snap to the left border. Let's modify the font weight since we're here already. That should be it. Let's double check how it looks. Looks perfect. Let's also check how fluid resizing works. The cards are getting neatly squished. Let's get back and throw in some finishing touches. We can create a border for a card that will appear only when the card is selected. I'm also using the border on the outside so it won't be under the property image. To make it appear only when the card is selected, here in the conditional field, select the card is selected value. Let's also make the gradient to disappear when the card is selected. To do this, we will need to use a formula called NOT. And here is the final result. Let's create a slide out on a card click just for a good measure. Some placeholder text here. And hook up the action to open up the slide out model when the card is clicked. Delete this column. Looks like it works. Let's check it on a preview. So this is it. Thank you for watching. Leave a comment if you have any questions and check our other videos. See you next time.